Thank you for joining us once again on the road. We were headed today for Eisenhower Park, but we ended up here at Our Lady of Lourdes in Malverne. All the parks in Nassau County are, of course, closed. And we were headed to the Angel of Hope statue. It was placed there by Bob Policastro, who's also the founder of Angela's House. Angela's House is this beautiful residence where parents and families of severely disabled children can care for their children in a home environment. It's a very, very beautiful expression of love, especially for those dealing with that difficulty. Bob Policastro was going to be our communion breakfast speaker this Sunday at Kellenberg. Bob is a walking saint. He is someone who has dealt a long time with grief ministry. He's gone through his own grief, and he has used that compassion to help others deal with this very, very difficult situation. The Angel of Hope was placed at Eisenhower Park to give parents a place to come and recollect and just take time to get away from maybe some of the sadness that they're experiencing from the loss of a child. The Gregorian sings every December as parents are going through a very, very difficult season and dealing with loss, to kind of come together with other people and to think about maybe how hope can help them through this difficult time. The first time that we were singing at the Angel of Hope prayer service, which always takes place the first Saturday in December, I could see the families gathering, and some were carrying little stuffed animals, some were carrying pictures of the children that they lost. And I was overwhelmed by the sense of grief of these parents. And at one point during this prayer service every year, Bob will invite the parents to shout out the name of their child. And if you've ever experienced people who were going through a great sense of loss, but at the same time just looking for a hand to hold, this was it. And when people come to this prayer service every year, it's very similar to 9/11. People are yearning for God. People are yearning for just human companionship. And the one thing that we understand that we need, especially as we go through life, is to be there for each other. And that's what this situation lately has told us, is that we need to be here for each other. And I think the Angel of Hope, if you ever get a chance to go to Eisenhower Park, it really shows us the importance of how we need to look to each other, and we need to look to God, especially when things are especially grim. In another week, we will be going through Easter, and I don't think there's ever been a time when we really need to look for hope. We really need to look at hope as something that will bring us to the next phase, that next place. We're people who, when we're at Monday and Tuesday, we can't wait for Saturday and Sunday. When we are in September, we can't wait for Christmas. When we are in March, we usually can't wait for Easter. But this year, we are called to kind of just be for a certain amount of time. It has put us in special situations. It has slowed life down. But maybe in a good way, it has given us time to think, to pause, and even pray. We are maybe distant from church. Maybe we are distant from relatives. Maybe we are distant from our jobs. And maybe this time will be a period of hope in which we can look towards the next phase. Easter is that hope. A risen Christ who defeats death shows us that nothing is impossible with God. And maybe over the course of the next week, we will hope that you will look at your own situation with this great hope, to think about how we need to keep hope every day in our lives. We are often very busy that I think we go from phase to phase, from day to day, and we really don't think about what we're doing. These times are in which time almost seems frozen and there seems no light at the end of the tunnel, can be time in which we need hope more than anything. What greater expression of Easter than to look at this, than to look at the risen Christ as not only bringing a light into our life, into our relationships, but as an extension of who we are and how we're going to get to heaven. As we celebrate this season with our families, as we celebrate this important time, maybe it'll give us a greater understanding of what Easter and hope is all about. I wish you and your families the greatest of Easters, a blessed time of year, and a time to pause and to celebrate relationships, our relationships with each other, and our relationship with Jesus Christ. Have a great Easter.